What's going on, y'all? Happy Tuesday. I'm so excited to be here today because you know what? We're catching up with the Kings. King Speak is something that was dear to my heart, still is, okay? From back in the day, if you've caught up, you see the folder, King Speak, we got like 80 videos in there from amazing men who I feel to be living as king level men, meaning they do the work, they put in the time, they're upstanding, and their main goals is to be better than they were yesterday. And they do it in action, they show up, and I'm here for it. So I want you guys to join this conversation because I have one of our past kings catching up today. So you guys know the drill. Share this with a friend, have a seat, join the conversation in the comments, and get ready to talk with actor and creator Frank Oakley the third. Let's go. Manhood, self-mastery, emotional intelligence. This is Kings Speak. And let me get actor and creator Frank Oakley up here, one of my favorite people up.
Hey,
Frank!
can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I love the little graphic, the intro graphic thing.
It's fun,
Pretty
right?
dope. Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, let
makes
me
it
get all the way
feel
into it.
regal, elegant,
Yeah, it's giving legit.
Right.
Oh, friends, how have you been?
I've been doing all right. All right. Not today I'm doing good. Today I'm doing good. Yeah. Yeah,
Listen,
I'll
that is
take it.
good.
Yeah.
Listen, good is good. I was grouchy pretty much all day, but then I was like, you know what? Let me take this shower. Let me get into the space. Let me rinse all my attitude off so I can talk to Frank and have a good time.
You already know we about to kick it, man. Already about
Yes,
to kick it.
that's right. It's been too long. And I'm a big fan of yours. I love your work. I love coming across your page. I love I'ma be Frank. Like you're just that dude. So why don't we dive in and talk about some of that stuff? You are an actor and a creator. And so I did check out What Happened to Hope. Tell
Mhm.
people about that and, give me a little bit on that.
Well, yeah. Well, first I got to give you your flowers too, real quick. Like I know we've never like met in person. I'm looking forward to whenever that happens. But I don't know. You just have your spirit and your soul is just so bright, and you're very it is you can't help but to attach to that and then reflect that. So always genuinely a pleasure whenever we get a chance to connect or talk. So give you a bouquet real quick. There
Thank you. I receive it. Smells so good.
you go.
No, I appreciate you. I really love it. And I love being connected to you, men, because you give me, you guys always use the word genuine. And that's so
Mhm.
nice. That's probably one of the highest compliments that a person can ever get. There's a lot that goes on in the world. We are, with social media and there's a lot of pretending and there's just a lot of stuff out there. So to be able
Yeah.
to see people and connect with them, like I'm just so here for it. It really genuinely lights up my spirit in a real way. So thank you. I love it.
But yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Writer, director, look at you. Let's talk about it.
Trying to. So yeah, What Happened to Hope? It is a 4-part limited mini series that follows the journey of a woman named Hope, who's a young business professional, and she finally reaches a point in her life where she wants to seek professional help through counseling. Excuse me. And essentially, how that project came across was at my church. There was a 4-part sermon series that was coming up by the same name, What Happened to Hope, and the worship leader, the lead of the counseling center there, and the pastor, they all came up to me and said, hey, we want some type of uh, drama element to accompany the sermons that are coming up. And when they started saying how, it's something I align with, where it's like blending both faith and, professional help. It doesn't have to be either or. So I was already sold from that point. And I'm a big advocate for mental health and all that, going through my own mental health journey. So when they approached me about that, like immediately everything just started coming to my mind. I don't know why my brain is wired like that, but I mean, I saw the whole thing. So I was just like, all right, how far can we lean? I just need to know the parameters of the sandbox so I can know how far I can play. And I'm going to, edge up against every edge of it and see, what we can do. And one of the biggest things for me is I wanted to make sure we were being like real like really digging into some hard topics, things that not just church folks, but like regular people might, want to maybe avoid or not, cover. So and they gave me the go ahead because it's like, yeah, we want to do that. We want to dig in. So just wrote those 4 episodes and had some revisions and some drafts, sent it out to some colleagues of mine, real good dear friends who do this better than me and more than me, to get feedback. And yeah, just surrounding myself around competent, passionate, talented people. So essentially my job was just somewhat facilitating, honestly, and organizing. Everybody else just did what they need to do and knocked it out the park. So yeah, yeah.
That is so bomb. And it's like when I was watching it, I understood and I could get your essence and your vibe in it. And it's everything that you said. It's faith, but it's mental health. Like it, of course, it's the church and all these things, but beyond that, like these are human problems. This is how people, when I was watching it, I was like, oh, this is like a depiction in the mind or the heart of somebody who's been through things. And if you don't understand childhood trauma or how it can affect you in the future and all these things, that was a great depiction of how, people may go back and forth and attempt to get the help and
Hmm.
that internal battle and thing that goes on when you're having flashbacks or you don't know, or you're checking in with yourself, or you don't even know when you're not driving the boat. And
No, it's real.
so
Yeah.
it is real. So it was great. I enjoyed it. I was like, wait, what happened to Hope? I'm waiting for the August 27th.
Yep. August 27th and September 3rd. Those are the next two. Oh, and one more thing I want to throw in there too. Um, we also had the head of the counseling department at our church. She also was like a consultant for us on set. So like we would literally be in the middle of, maybe shooting a scene or rehearsing a scene, and we're just checking in like, hey, she was keeping us truthful to, counseling culture and clinical counseling and everything. So the verbiage and everything is how it needs to be. So, shout out to Alex for that too, for keeping us honest and keeping us, truthful. So yeah.
That's so good. You could definitely tell. You could tell it was an all hands on deck. And I was
Hmm.
thinking it before you said it, but you could see the passion. Like with you being an actor, I think naturally we kind of like to dabble in the different facets of it. You've been on set. You've seen how behind the scenes work. You know how to show up as an actor, but there's so many other parts that start to become fun just because you
Hmm.
understand. So I'm not surprised it clicked when it did, because it's like your overall vision is there just based off of what you do for a living.
Yeah. And it was interesting too, in the sense of like, I believe, that honestly, I believe God was allowing me to see that, that same level of fulfillment and ownership that I have in front of the camera and that I thought I could only experience in front of the camera. He was allowing me to see you can also feel that same level of fulfillment behind the camera as well. So, um, yeah, that was unique too. I was grateful for that part of it as well.
I love it because I mean, as I'm looking at it, I could see uh, all across the U.S. churches and needing something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and
To
and and
yeah,
no, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead.
to help depict in the way that you did. We're getting away from everything's not so traditional, but churches, they
Hmm.
have YouTube channels now. They have,
Hmm.
and this medium of art is, it speaks to people. So I could
Hmm.
definitely see, I don't know if you have a production company yet or what you're going to do, but I could just see so many people utilizing this as a service, honestly.
Yeah, and I would love to, aid in that in any kind of way that I can because one of the biggest things with this one in particular and anything that I do, because I have a bunch of different concepts and ideas that I want to eventually bring to fruition as well. Um, my thing is I want to, because I am, a part of telling this story, the foundation is going to be grounded in faith. However, I don't want people to, know that it's even a faith-based thing, quote unquote. It should just be a universal thing that people can connect with. And shout out to my guy Paul Orama. He's one of the guys I sent my script to. He's a very talented DP and director, and he gave me the biggest compliment when I was sharing it with him. When he was just like, "You made this in faith, just the ideal of faith, seem welcoming, seem because he's read all 4 episodes and everything." And I was like, "That is the biggest compliment that I can get, because that was the goal. Because I don't want people to tune out or turn off just because like, oh, this is associated with church. This probably ain't for me. I wanted it as universal as possible. So I'm hoping that, it resonates like that with other folks. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does. I know the church life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
didn't feel, and the Lord
Yeah. It
said.
didn't feel too
I'm
pure
just like,
flicks, did
what?
it?
Yeah, no, it wasn't giving any of that. Like, okay, here we go. Like, this is corny. I'm gonna watch it because my boy, you know what I mean? It was
Right.
a real short, and it was enjoyable. It was bite-sized. It was relatable just to humans, and it
Yeah.
definitely had that seamlessness to it. So the mission was felt. Kudos. Yeah. Yeah, you got something there.
Thank you.
I don't know. There might be more of that. And I know there's a lot going on in the industry right now. That's, I think it's time to like just start to dabble and understand like some of the other aspects and ways that we can create that we're good at. And like you said, that are fulfilling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's
Yes.
just one way of many to kind of explore that. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was thinking about it before I hopped on here. I was going to ask you, how do you feel like dabbling things like that and being an actor, because you're pretty versatile, and we'll talk about your independent project coming up, because I read that synopsis and I was like, whoa, okay, that's insane.
Yeah.
What is going on? But you're really able to be like, you're funny, you're articulate, you're faith-based, but when you need to be serious, you can pull into that bag. You can be. So how do you feel like being multifaceted in the arts kind of helps you and translates to real life?
I would say, I think it helps me to be more understanding and open to the human condition, and even more importantly, people that in my normal life I may not even cross paths with. There's not to get all super preachy or nothing, but like, I really do love this work that we do and that we get to do. And I really love the responsibility that comes with that. And I think one of the responsibilities that come with that is honoring the people that this piece will affect, honoring the people that, the story may be about. So being able to, jump in different shoes or different positions or different hats and see things from different perspectives, that allows me to be, one, a better human being, but two, just a better storyteller.
Yeah, and I feel like all of life is storytelling. I use it all the time. I actually, we did have a comment. I am transcending. Hi, Will. I appreciate that, Frank. A message of natural spirit will be universal, and it's so true. And, I've studied acting. I never really pursued it like I could, but
I've been pushing you a little bit. I'm
I
like,
know
you might need to wiggle back, put your toe back in the water,
Right, just a little toe, a little pinky toe.
Because you got, we've already had this conversation. You already got everything you need to be successful. I'm just going to keep pushing you a little bit. That's it.
Just a little bit. It could be fun. To me, it's all the politics where I'm just like, oh my God, you guys are taking the fun out of it. But I need to learn how to put in the work on things that require the work. So there's something in there and I'm here for it. But I've actually been speaking, and I've been speaking at schools. And one of the first times that so I don't know if you know this, but I got to teach acting over the summer to teens at Columbia University in New York. No, this was years ago.
Okay.
And so in teaching acting, a lot of the kids, I didn't know, but at the end they were like, oh my God, I was so shy. And thank you, Miss Jamie. Like, I just feel like it helped them so much with confidence. And I wasn't thinking like that because, I move how we move. This is just what we do. We're on camera and we get over it and we, perform. But so I took some of that and I spoke at a school a few times over the summer this summer. And I definitely used tactics in acting to kind of get the kids to understand more about who they are and to relate. And I'll pull out sides and make them get up in front and like do this. But, my acting teacher, he would teach us like, what do you want? Who are you talking to? Where are you? How are you going to get it? This is real life. Just like as an actor, we're storytelling. You're there with an intention. Somebody has an intention. Somebody has an objective. You're there to get something done, whether it's a job, ask somebody to wash your dog, how can I get dinner? There's still all of these things and layers. And when you're aware, it gives you so much room to play.
Yeah.
And I love it.
acting is literally the study of human beings and human nature. So yeah, like they say, art imitates life. Like that's real. But I'm curious, like, was there when you did that this summer? Was there something that stuck with you? And if it was, what was it and why?
With the kids.
Hmm.
I feel like even for these teens, and it was so new for me because it's been a long time since I've been tapping the teenagers. I don't have kids, and my friends' kids are not teenagers yet, so it was different. But they're very smart, and they're very driven. And the girls and the guys were different. So the boys, they are wild. They're all into it. They're
Hmm.
like, all over the place. With the women, I'm like, there seemed to be a disconnect for a while, like a lot of shyness. I feel like there is a lot of, I'm not going to say they were hiding behind the screens, but it's different when you're just with your girls and sending music or on
Hmm.
social media and whatever. And I felt like I had to do a little more to get them to like be a person with me and not just, I'm not a talking head. I let them know at the gate, like, I know I'm older, but I ain't trying to talk at y'all. This is summer school. Like, you've been listening to people all day. Like, I want to hear from you, so, but to warm them up in that way. And then to be able to see them push themselves and grab sides. And now we're like laughing and I'm seeing personality and like the ridiculousness and the playfulness that I feel like I'm used to seeing a little bit more upfront with kids, whereas I had to draw it out of them. And it was just a little bit different. And we come from a different era. We didn't have social media. We were
Right.
outside, like, so we were
Right.
always, that's what it was. So that's what off the top of my head, that's what I feel was different. So again, it was an opportunity to like bring in something that they've never been asked to do and read this. It was like a script from like ER, this simple thing, like you enter her medical records and just even showing them how to do conflict and whatever. They were just shocked at their ability and they had fun and they laughed and it brightened up the room, which brightened that up for me.
That's dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different, like, because the reason I asked is because I got a chance to work with like middle school students over the summer as well, which is not my thing. I prefer to work with like adults if possible, but I got really fortunate with them, and it was interesting to hear some of the same crossover there. That's why I asked, because I was just curious. Um, yeah, it does something to you when you can see one of the shy kids, or maybe a couple of the shy kids, by the end of it they're like making choices and being less shy, and it's just like, so
There
yeah,
you
it's,
are. Yeah.
yep. So it's cool to hear that similarity there. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, of course. I love it. And I'm really hoping to do more. Who knows where things will go. I can never call it, but I'm here
Yeah,
for it.
same.
Yes. So I
Right.
love that. That's how it's got to be because Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say since 2020, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just gonna say we're both at that age where it's just like that's just how life is set up. We can plan, we do plan, but ultimately we'll see what's up, and we'll roll from there.
Yeah. I'm going to
Because they
throw
ain't got
everything
time
on
to
the
be
table.
doing nothing else.
No, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, what I learned in 2020. And, I feel like we haven't talked since, I think like 2021 was like the last time I popped up and did a roundtable.
I think
But
so.
so many things have changed, but I was getting a sense of it in 2019. And now that I
Mhm.
remember the journey, I'm like, I remember even in January being like, girl, you're going to have to get used to walking in the unknown.
That part.
Okay, you're going to have to get
Yeah.
used to it because it
Yep.
becomes a memo. And then to
Hmm.
be honest, I've spent the last 3 years implementing
Hmm.
and fighting myself and crying about it and figuring it out and not understanding and being new. And it's been a challenge. So I don't know. How has life changed for you since 2020 when the world kind of shifted?
I mean, a lot has changed for sure. Uh, Lost some hair, as you can
Yeah.
tell. But I like my milk dud now. I'm rocking it.
Yeah, I like the milk thread.
I'm lucky that my little peanut shaped head isn't too misshapen, because then that'd have
Right.
been looking real rough.
It works. God is good.
Nah, for real. So yeah, that's happened. My dad, he passed away back here in 2021.
Oh
And
no.
yeah, and that's what actually started my therapy journey. So
Wow.
Um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Those would probably be and then also like, making my, writing, directing debut and stuff like that. But yeah, those are probably like the big points I think that things have changed since
Yeah.
then. Yeah.
Oh my God, your dad. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
It's
you're never ready for nothing like that.
no.
No matter the circumstance, the situation, you're never ever ready for that. But I can say, throughout that process, the one thing that I felt was peace, um, undescribable peace. So that was something to really, I don't know, just process. Yeah.
Like, how did that come about? How did peace come about? Like, how is that, your final, thought on that?
As cheesy as it may sound, the truth is, I really do think, as even though I wrestle with faith and God and all that stuff, and a matter of fact, we should do like some type of like one of these just talking about like the different challenges of faith because that can be the whole thing right there. But
We
um,
should, because I got to update, on that myself. So we'll talk about
yeah,
that in a minute if you want to. But
yeah, we can go there.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I've wrestled a lot in my faith and with God and all that stuff, but the things that have been consistent is in times like that. Like I really do honestly believe it was God's peace. That's the only way I can describe it. Where no matter what was going on around me, inside me, like even through the sadness, through the pain, I just felt this calm peace that I just can't describe. And that's the only thing I can attribute it to.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like when you're talking, what comes to mind for me is like the eye of the storm.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
it's so quiet and calm, and it's like there's all these things going on, but nothing here is being harmed. It's quiet.
Hmm.
You're there, the things are happening, but I just, was kind of feeling like eye of the storm in that,
Yeah.
which is profitable, I would say, because emotionally, spiritually, physically, which can then trickle over to financially, sometimes it almost gets harder to be irresponsible with our peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what are we gonna do? What am I one of my favorite movies, like P.S. I Love You, they make a joke in there, and the long story short is like, I can't afford to have a mental breakdown. That is something afforded for the rich. Like,
Yeah.
what if I don't? I have to, and it's not a bad thing, but I have to find my peace because who's gonna pay these bills? Like I'm responsible for too
Yeah.
much to have a real actual fit. So I think it kicks in, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
how do I actually, how do I actually do this?
How do I work through it? Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
for me
Right.
in the faith piece, I've been through a lot with that. I've been through a lot. And I mean, I would say, what year is this? 2023. Pretty much at the top of the year, I kind of just was like, you know what? I'm not claiming, any of this. I've been a Christian my whole life. I was raised that way. And I was like, I'm opting out of it all. And I
Yeah.
have my reasons, and I have my function, and I have my flow. Sometimes it's hard to say that because I've come from such a community of church and Christianity
Right.
and all of these things. But through my journey, the way I've had to reconcile within with this stuff has led me to opting out.
Yeah.
And that's working for me.
I mean, to be honest with you, I think that I think it's beneficial. Because I'll keep a short story as well. I went through a pretty similar situation where I'm pretty much my whole life I've been Christian and everything. Um, and long story short, when I moved down here to Atlanta in 2017, I went through a real dark period where I was just like all this different stuff with faith and all this. I was just like, I just want to strip all of it away, step away, stop going to church. Like I do know God is real, and I just want to start from there, ground zero, and let me try to build up from there. Long story short, with that, I've learned like kind of who God is from like taken away everything that I've learned and just tried to learn from him, whether it's through like reading the Bible or just sitting and praying, saying, God, I don't know, help me understand this. And, I don't recommend it for everybody, but I do think it's healthy. I think it's healthy to question stuff in faith. And then eventually I was able to go back to church uh, with a more healthier mindset of just like the people at this church, the people in the leadership, the church itself. None of that is God. This is more so for community and to uplift one another. And once I kind of started realizing that, and it's not even really even about me, I was able to go back with a little bit of a healthier mindset. But it was something I think I read or listened to at one point. And I think they were saying something along the lines of like, whenever we get to heaven or whatever, you're gonna see people there, and you're like, that's interesting. And you'll realize, oh, you were right about some stuff, and I was wrong about some stuff, and vice versa. So, long story short, with all that, I think I think it's healthy to have these periods where you kind of step back and reassess. And if it's the truth, you'll find your way back to it.
Yeah.
And then also, I'm not paid or anything like that, but I'm reading. I finished this book, and I recommend it for really anybody. It's called "With" by Sky Jethani, and basically, what the book does is it breaks down, or it's somewhat simplifies us as human beings. We usually look at faith through 4 different perspectives: living life under God, living life over God, living life from God. And it breaks that down, and then it shows like what does it look like to do life with God. And that's kind of where I'm at in my journey of like, how do I do that? Because
Yeah.
like, and you said you grew up Christian, so those type of folks where you meet them and they just be like, they wake up and they just like, "Oh, Jesus, like I can't do anything without Jesus." And I'm like, I hear that, but that's not how I be feeling.
It's not how I feel. I'm not
And
okay.
yeah, and
Love
either
Jesus, but
right, and either you really just have that kind of experience, and that's wonderful, or you're maybe trying to placebo pill yourself through it until your mind catches up to it, which isn't wrong either. But I'm just like, how do I like I don't know, like how do I experience what life with God looks like versus these different perspectives and things. So I say all that to say that I think the journey that you on is a healthy one. And don't let nobody tell you that otherwise.
nope. I had to work to get there to even where I could say it out loud, because it was very
Mhm.
private for a long time, and I struggled for a long time. I was struggling bad. It was just like, I can't wrap my heart around this thing the way
Yeah.
it's being, shared. I need more. And I'm a life coach now, so I'm somebody who I need to learn. I need to ask questions. I need to see all sides of things. I'm gonna look at it in ways people never even thought, because I need to know. Like, I
Yeah.
need to know. So I definitely feel like I've been able to work my way to a space where, like you say, with God, I feel like I'm co-creating with God, and I know what that means, and I can say it in steps, and I can teach it, and I can share it in a way that I feel, which is one of the primary reasons I became a life coach, because I'm coming up with all of these things and the way I see it, and I'm seeing my life benefit from it. But I'm like, okay, Jay, like, you can't just be in here doing that. You need to share, because I genuinely think people would be happier and their lives would be easier. Not
Mhm.
perfect, but even when you're sad or when you go through things like today, I allowed myself to be grouchy. I know why I was grouchy. I know why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, and I'm okay with that. But I could, there was a time where I couldn't so much allow myself my ebbs and flows,
Mhm.
because I thought I was doing something wrong.
Mhm.
Like, why am I not waking up with the love of Jesus on my heart and this big old smile? Why do I feel like this today?
Mhm.
And is that wrong? And so that whole thing, but it's just, yeah, we should definitely, I feel like Keandra would love to come in on this one, but
Hey,
have a full conversation about what this really looks like in an honest
I'm
way.
let me know. I'll
Yeah.
be glad to hop in. I'll be
Yeah.
glad to hop in.
Yes. And
Yeah.
it's always good to have a men's perspective, because, that's a whole other thing when it comes to, religion and certain things, to just have the
Yeah.
voice of a man who gets it, who's balanced, and. So yeah, we'll have to do that.
Let me know.
I am transcending said, millions of people broken said, sadly. I know, I think, he put this in when I was talking back to kind of like the times in the pandemic and some of the stuff that we go through. Like, I didn't feel like I could afford to, I actually, my little pandemic season was good, and I don't want to say that because I know a lot of negative things happen, but for me, it was positive. But I just know other times in my life, like, I know I've been on the brink, but it was just like, I can't, like, what? So, I feel for people that, I don't want to say didn't have the strength, because I don't even think that's the right word either.
It's a different experience than
It's
yours.
just a different experience. Yeah. That's wonderful to hear. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I feel like I'm getting better every day. I'm happy. I have my joy. Things, it's not about perfection, but life is different, and we'll dive into that and share much more of that, because I would love to. Now I'm ready.
Primed up. There we go.
I'm ready. I can communicate it now. For a while, I couldn't really say what I was trying to say. I just was so new. Now I'm like, no, because this and this, and because of that, and this is why and how. Okay. This is why this makes sense to me. Okay. So yeah, just to keep sharing. So you shared what you learned about yourself, that you're able to cultivate unshakable peace. So let's kind of talk about the power of pause. I felt this was good for you because you seem in touch enough to know how to navigate. So what are your indicators that you need rest, especially in a society that's like, always like going? How do you refrain, especially as a man? You're the provider. You gotta be, you can't be lazy. And what are you doing? Like, how do you find guilt-free rest and pausing in this society?
It took a minute to get there, if I'm being honest. I'll say that physically speaking, when I know I need rest or I'm not getting enough, is if I'm talking and I sound like I'm like slurring my speech, or I had too much to drink, I'm like, I probably need some rest. I probably need some sleep. But the way that I eventually got to the point of, and I think I actually did a video about this, I want to say maybe a few months ago, one of my I'm Gonna Be Frank videos. I think I called it "It's Okay to Pause," and basically the analogy that I kind of came up with to kind of help me be okay with taking pause is like my body is like a machine. It's like a car. With a car, if you want it to keep going, you have to get routine maintenance checkups. You got to get your oil change. You got to get your tires rotated. If you want that car to keep going, you have to take the time to pause from driving or going to work or whatever you need to do to go to that car body shop to get that thing lifted up, take care of it, put it back down, and keep going. So the way I look at it is, if I want to take a pause in order to, keep going, it's okay to do that. It's not like I'm taking a pause just to, jack around or whatever. And sometimes that's needed too.
Yeah,
but,
I was like, and if you did.
Right. Yeah. But for me, with the way my mind is set up, I have a hard time trying to do that, because I'm just like, I just took a strength finders test thing today, and my top two are futuristic and achiever, and those are beneficial, but they also can be not so beneficial in some ways. They have their cons too, and taking rest is one of those things, because it's like everything, I have to have something to achieve. I have to, but I don't have to. So now I'm rambling. Long-winded way to say,
Not at all.
long-winded way to just say, yeah, the way I justify that and not have guilt is like, again, my body's like a car. If I want to keep running, I got to take pause and take care of it. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I completely get it, because I've burnt out before. So it's something else that I had to teach myself. And, I think a lot of people got that too, in the whole 2020 thing. Like, even for me, as much as I feel like I'm on top of it, I was like, wow, I haven't just sat here and did nothing for like a week or like 3 days even straight with no tasks, but to feed myself and to, to wake up when I want, as opposed to alarm. Like, I wasn't used to that. Had a full-time job doing YouTube, going to the gym still, having fun with friends, doing my monthly brunch, laundry, which was not on site. Like, it was just like, what?
Yeah.
I'm freaking tired. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired. And so
That
I'll
check
never live
engine
that
light
way
was
again.
on.
Oh, the check engine light was on. The other one, there's a red one that comes on. There's a
Hmm.
little yellow
The
triangle one with
triangle,
the
yeah.
they was all on. All the lights. It was a problem, you
Hmm.
know, but you don't know or look at it because it's just what you're used to doing. I used to feel that guilt so heavy. Like, if this isn't done, why are you in the bed?
Yep. And that's all our society. I mean, I can't speak for outside of American culture because I'm not that cultured enough to leave the country yet, but my passport's ready whenever that time comes. But um nah, like I that's just kind of how we are here. It's that grind, go get it culture, which it has benefit, but like anything else, it has cons if it's too much weighted on one side. And I don't know why that's our culture. I mean, I have theories as to why, but
Yeah.
it's not healthy. It's never been healthy. It doesn't leave room for relationship, for family, for self-care. It's like, yeah, yeah,
And those are the most important things that you just named. Like, I low key feel like everything good stems from that.
yeah, yeah.
Your community, your healthy relationships, how you take care of yourself. That's the first thing, my life coaching with Sassy is self-love. Like, it has
Mm.
to be that. This is not about baths and flowers and candles. This is like literally, I'm not okay right now and I need a few days. And I'm gonna say it, and I don't care how you feel about it, not because I don't care about you, but because I care about me. And I can't, like, this is to communicate it, to act it out, to walk it out. Like, this is something that is non-negotiable. Because there were times too where I would run on empty because I didn't want to let somebody else down. What?
Yeah,
No, I come
yeah,
first. I do.
yeah, yeah. No,
Everything's coming from here.
for real. I have a question. I'm always asking you questions.
Yes, I love
Um,
it.
So one of the things I don't necessarily struggle with it, but it's like I'm trying to figure out if there's a balance with it, like self-love and self-care. When I was first introduced to that concept by going through my therapy journey, like it's a beautiful thing and it sounds fantastic when we are able to do it. But I'm curious is where is the balance? Because one of the things that I struggle with is like sometimes it can truly, and I've used it, if I'm being honest, to be, a little selfish in the same, and not like the good selfish, but the like, oh, self care. I don't care about you. I'm gonna go do my thing over here. Like, have you struggled with that? And if so, where does, in your experience, where does the balance lie in that, if there is balance?
Like, basically, if I have to, like, if I'm selfish with my self-love or self-care, or if it comes
Mhm.
off that way, I don't care. I'm unapologetic. And
Okay.
that's what it is, because I know my heart and I'm being honest. And I think that
Yeah.
if people love me and care about me, then you would love and care about what I'm doing for myself, because I know, me, I know me. So I'm only saying this
Mm.
because it's what I really need. So with that being said, I'll always relate things, um, you know, as honest as I can, using my words, and just being truthful, but it's no longer about if other people are okay with it,
Yeah.
because you're not going to be here to cook my dinner. You're not going to be here to rub my
Mm.
feet. You're not going to be here to charge me up but I've gotten a little like gangster with it where it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, and I won't be able to make it. Love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are we really talking about here? And then again, that goes back to, if somebody wants to call it selfish, I'm okay with that, because I know me. I'm always there. If I can be there, I am there.
Yeah.
And if I can't, it's because I really can't. And that's just got to be accepted. But it also kind of, I'm really not around people who give me a hard time about it.
Mm.
So I think sometimes people who have certain expectations, or that are used to you pushing your boundaries, and you're not giving that anymore, they harmoniously fall away. I don't have to talk to you about yourself. It's just like a pruning of the tree. Some of these yellow
Yeah.
leaves might just be falling off, and I'm okay with all of it, because I remember when I was the one suffering, and I
Mm.
can't afford to do that anymore, because this is my
Mm.
life. I'm the only one living this existence. So if it comes off as selfish, I'm okay with that. And I also encourage other people to do the same. When they really have to do whatever it is, even if it isn't what I wanted, I gotta love people enough to let them do what's good for them. I
Yeah.
can't even, there's what, I wish I had the quote out, but there's an amazing book that I love reading, and it's called the Happy Pocket Full of Money. And it talks about love, and love is freedom.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
freedom. You got to let people be free. There's no other way. Or somebody's going to be mad, somebody's going to be hurt. It becomes controlling. It becomes, so if you're really thinking from that space, like it really is all good. If you can't make it or you can't do this, when you're thinking, bigger than what's in front of you, I feel like, how do you know somebody else isn't going to come in? Or now another opportunity has been made for,
Right.
There's just endless possibilities. But when we get so focused on the slice of the pie instead of the whole thing, we miss the beauty of what's possible. So I'm cool with being honest at all times.
Hey.
And I don't apologize for it, because why? I don't want you to.
That's fair.
Yeah, so that's how I look at it.
I always appreciate your perspective, because yeah.
And I'm tender. I want to do all the things and I know what it's supposed to be and all this, but I just have to be honest, because that's what we all deserve.
Yeah. Ain't got time for nothing else, really.
No, that's real love. That's love to me. And that's what I want to give that, and I want to receive that. So we all doing our best out here. We really are. We
all just trying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Said, would you give me an intro to Sassy? An intro, well, I guess what I can tell you about Sassy is I am a transformative life coach. The S stands for self-love and mastery. The A is accountability and alignment. The S is spiritual wellness, then supplanted, and then your why. And I use these 5 steps to give people a very well-rounded view of how to live their life authentically. And the clients that I've had, I've watched them do a 180, and it is such rewarding work. And it's very powerful. I don't even think that I really knew what I was doing when I did it, but now that it's done, I'm like, it's one of my clients kind of refers to it as kind of like the 12-step program in AA. It's all these things, a lot of people go to therapy, and therapy works for some people. Some people come to the end of their rope. Some people are okay with venting. Some people are not getting the tools. What's different about my program is we do the work. It's an 18-week program of work. Tangible, practical, hands-on, like rewiring. And then go off into the world and be great and make your own decisions from a place that's not crunchy. So that's like one way, I would share how that's been working out. And it has come from my reading, my study, my pulling myself out of my own holes, me being curious, the way my brain thinks, mishmashing it all together and being able to deliver it in a way that I know people are not hearing on a day. Like, it's just, I don't know. I've just kind of made my own thing. And I can tell that the way I flip everything on its head. So it's like, we know these certain things and we try, but then when I flip it on its head and bring in this other aspect, you're like, okay, now I know what to do, how to change it. Like, it starts to click. So it's cool and it's fun. And that's funny.
It's like you do this for a living.
Right, exactly. So I'm growing and I'm learning how to market and share, but I think this is something that will grow organically. I have coached men and women, and this is something in the beginning I didn't even think men would be interested, but they were. And it's been really rewarding and cool. So yes, let the non-crunchy life begin. Who wants to be crunchy? You can be smooth.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I remember that used to be like a thing when we was kids. It's just like, I'll look at him standing there looking crunchy.
Looking crunchy.
Said some of the silliest stuff.
Yeah, but you get it. It's like, nah, yeah. Look how crunchy. Okay, so well, in the vein of self-care and taking care of ourselves and not being crunchy, what are some of the things that you do to keep your cup full, like your energy level high and adequate enough in order for you to do the things that you do want to do well?
If I'm being honest, I think I'm still trying to figure that out. I know I have some things, but I'm trying to be open to other things as well. Definitely anything physical, like, boxing, working out, jumping rope. Just I have to be physical because that frees me up to get out of my head so much. when I was a kid, I used to love to draw and sketch things. So I'm trying to get back into that a little bit. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to figure out more of the things that fill me up. Oh, like a self-care thing that I like to do. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people like to do. I don't know what it is about getting into the shower and before you start cleaning, you just let the water. I don't know what that is, but just standing
It's a
there and letting that
portal.
water run, it's just like, oh man, like gosh, it is the best. So that's definitely something else too. Yeah, like those are. It's not a big, exhaustive, exciting list, but I'm trying to like broaden that list a little bit more.
Yeah, I love that. And yeah, I'm a shower person. The shower is a portal. The water is magic. And
Hmm.
all of the magic I do in the shower, I'll always, like I said, even before here, I got in the shower because I'm like, okay, let's rinse off the residue of what's not working. You can see it, you can feel it. It's just a thing. I don't know what it is about the shower,
Hmm.
but you go in one way and you come out and you're
Yep.
like, okay, I
Hmm.
can do this thing called life. So I'm with you on that. And I ask because, I did a conversation with another guy friend of mine, and it was about men. Like, are you happy?
Hmm.
And I had some guys, and then they started asking their boys, and I really sat down, like, are we happy? Like, what is happy? Like, what is that? What does that mean? I got things to take care of. I got kids. I got a wife. I got,
Hmm.
job. I got like happy. Like, even my dad was like that. We had joy, but I would tell him, I want to do a job that's fun. I don't want to go to work. And he's like, fun? What is fun? Like, what do you mean this is work? Like, and I'm sitting here like, why can't it be fun? So I ask because, you know, when even as women we're dealing with men, we want to know like what makes you happy,
Hmm.
like if we're your partner, or because we want to be able to facilitate that. I think that's part of the joy of having a partner, but a lot of men kind of like don't know and can't verbalize like what exactly it is. And
And I think it's because a lot of times, because a lot of my homeboys is like that as well, where we definitely don't take the time to ask ourselves, let alone if someone else asks us, we're just kind of like, I I don't know. So yeah, I think that's just I think the more we ponder about that, I think the closer we can get to finding out what that is for us individually. But I think that could be a man thing, not to like overgeneralize, but I think it could be because
yeah.
you know, yeah, we don't. I don't think we consider ourselves that much when we got people to be responsible for and stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. And I think it is a man thing because I mean, I can give you a list like right now. Like as women, we're always doing things that like make us happy. We want to, it's the way we feel is such a, thing.
Y'all are really good at just generally speaking, y'all are really good at being connected emotionally to things and grounded, and that is a superpower. And I think because y'all give yourself that freedom to do that, that's why y'all are um, more connected and more grounded to things than we can. But we have to learn kind of how to do that because that's not like built in, I don't think, other than like the three emotions that we're allowed, quote unquote, to show as men. So
Three. Yeah.
yeah. And they're all variations of the same one anger
Yeah.
usually. So, you know,
Gray, dark gray, light gray,
right.
and a little bit of brown if we're
Hmm.
lucky. Like,
Yeah.
and we're over here like hot pink, chartreuse,
Yeah, man.
periwinkle, violet. And you're like, it's a lot,
Like
girl.
I want to be like that. I'm trying to get like
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I know there's more, and one of the guys I talked to, he kind of, and I can see this too, but he finds joy when that his kids love him, or that his
Mm,
spouse is happy, or that he knows he's contributing to community. So I know those things are there, but being able to identify and verbalize and expand it when you need to, I think is kind of the thing where there can be a disconnect
mhm.
because of society being like, you got three things. Like, we don't really want to
Yep.
see too much more from you.
Yep.
Stay in the box.
Hmm. Yep.
So, well, that's good. A good shower, maybe some good snacks, some boxing.
I got to be careful with the snacks. I am known to like, yeah, I'm very fortunate to have the body type that I have where it can adapt easily. But if I'm being real disciplined, like cool. I'm Marvel set ready. But if I'm being bad, man, I'll be out here just big belly and everything. So I got to be careful with the snacks.
What's your favorite snack?
Mm, it depends on the day. Uh,
Are you a chocolate guy? Are you sweet and sour? Are you an ice cream person?
it depends on the
He's
day.
like all of the above.
It depends on
Chips.
the day. Chips, all that. Like it literally depends on the day. I have
I
to be
feel you.
careful though, for real, because like I've learned that I can be like that can be a vice for me. Like if I'm overwhelmed or stressed out or whatever, I like may turn to food. So that's something I have
Hmm.
to be aware of. So I'm joking, but I'm also being serious. But
Yeah.
I just say like serving size of Oreos is two. For me, it's like a whole sleeve. So like it's not a game out here. So I have to really be careful.
Listen, I get it. My neighbor was over here the other day. We were talking about Haagen-Dazs because that's my favorite. And I was like, girl,
Okay.
I'll eat the
What
box.
flavor?
The vanilla flavor with the chocolate almond outside, the bars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And she's like, well, you could just get the minis and eat one. I'm like, if the box is in there, I'm finishing the box.
That's what I'm saying. And I'll be trying to be like, all right, I'm gonna get rid of this, get it out the house, and I ain't gonna worry about it. But as soon as I open that door, it's yeah. Yep.
The worst, but it's my happy place too. And I remember when I was dead set on being model weight, and I'm no longer
Mm.
model weight, so we're done with that. But I still have to watch it. Like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness,
It's real, man.
it is. It really is. Especially as you get older, you're like, okay, I can't smash the box and eat a bag of chips anymore because I see it tomorrow, and now I'm
Mm.
fat, and now I have to go to the gym. Like, it's just
Yep.
a lot.
Yep. Yep. You
Oh
ain't gotta tell
man,
me.
yeah.
I'm already knowing.
So it's such a thing. Good Lord. And I know it is as being an actor. And speaking of, like, what are some of your biggest challenges in being an actor, and how do you overcome them?
I would say you have for lack of a better way to say it, I'll say you have the more quote unquote obvious ones where it's like, rejection, not knowing when your next gig is coming through, why you didn't get a gig, all that stuff. That's the more like obvious ones, I think. But for me personally, uh, learning and finding out who I am outside of acting, finding out who I am or my self worth outside of acting, finding fulfillment and purpose outside of acting. Because for a very long time, my whole identity, and I did a whole series thing about it, so I ain't gonna like beat it to death there. But um, yeah, like my whole identity was wrapped up in that. And if I'm being honest, like maybe the past 2, 3 years is when I really started to kind of strip that away. And then it was kind of like twofold because the pandemic hit and that kind of slowed things down. And then the strike that we're going through right now, another body shot there. So it's just like I really need to figure out because none of this is guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have to really figure out and find purpose, and self worth, and all that stuff outside of my title. So, yeah, yeah,
That's a major one. That is
yeah.
so major. Like you said, the obvious is, the things that you listed, but it is separating the identity from the job title because it is a self-worth thing. If 8 people tell you no, how can you be cool with that? Like, what mindset do you take on to be cool with that?
So, it took a while for me to get to that point. Maybe 2 years ago, roughly. But what I do is I make sure I do everything that I can possibly do. Whether if I'm going in for an audition and I'm doing all my research, I'm doing all my circumstance work, I'm looking up on IMDb Pro who are the people connected to the thing, I'm doing all my script now, so I'm doing every single thing possible that I can do to go in there and kill it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I go in there, do my audition, and I still didn't get it, I can sit there and say, you know what, I don't know why I didn't get it, but I know it wasn't because of this. I know it wasn't because of this. I know it wasn't because of this. I know it wasn't because of this.
Yeah.
So that helps me be like, you know what? At least I can rest easier. Not easy, but easier, knowing that it wasn't because of a lack of preparation. It wasn't a lack of work ethic. It wasn't a lack of none of that. It was just for something outside of my control. And once I finally got that going, it makes it a whole heck of a lot easier to deal with that kind of stuff. So yeah, process of
Yeah.
elimination.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And, you know, even though some of that stuff, you know, leaks outside of the acting world, you know, whether you're an entrepreneur or even some people in regular jobs now,
Oh
as
yeah.
like beastie as the job market is now, it's
Yeah.
just kind of like you can only do your best and you know, let the rest roll. There's like no choice, you know, back to when I was saying learning to walk in the unknown. That's what's real. Thinking you have it all together and planned and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. It all sounds good. By all
Yeah.
means, set your goals and make your plans, but also be cool with, you know, someone you build a little domino tower and then
Yep.
somebody's just like,
Yeah.
and you're like, but I made this whole pretty thing. And it's like, well, start over or do something different
Right.
or use different colors. And you just got to be cool with it because
Yeah.
that is what life really is,
Yeah.
not all of this other stuff that we thought was easy and controllable. What a blessing, Frank. It looks like you're making some great choices. Good to see you, Jamie. I heard you had a viral impact. I did. I went viral. Congrats to you both, insightful and talented young folks. Thank you so much,
Thank
Will,
you.
for coming
Yeah.
through and kicking it with us.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, your contribution and your words. Hit me up so, you know, so we can connect. So yeah, you know, walking through the unknown. So what are some of the spiritual practices that you do engage in to kind of carry you through the day to day?
So one thing I just started doing like maybe 2 weeks ago, I did it really good the first week. The next week I didn't so much. This week I'm trying to get back into it. Is gratitude pause is what I'm calling it. And I have it on my matter of fact, let me see. I can tell you when I have it scheduled. Don't mean I'll be doing it all the time.
But you try.
It's a new
It's on the
practice, so I'm
schedule.
trying to, you know, take 21 days. I'm only, you know, halfway there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have it scheduled one at 5:45 a.m., one at 8 a.m., one at noon, one at 3, one at 6, and then one at 8. And all it is like 15 minutes just to try to develop the habit of finding something to be grateful for 15 minutes. That sounds easy, but that's really hard, at least
No,
for
that's
me.
really hard. I was like 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's hard
No.
because like for me, I'm one of the things I try to fight is I do have one of my challenges is negative thought patterns or thought cycles and being super cynical. So this is how I'm trying to combat that a little bit. And literally it forces me to find something to be grateful for, even if it's repeating the same thing. Like I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head. I'm thankful that there's food in the fridge. They don't have to be nothing profound, like, oh Lord Jesus, like it ain't just
Yeah.
just doing that. But I would be lying if I told you that first week that I did it every day consistently, that it was a game changer. So it made me mad when I'm like, the next week, why I ain't doing it?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's something new, but it's literally forcing me, even if, you know, I've had a bad day or somebody that pissed me off or something didn't happen, it's forcing me to like, you know what, reset and what am I grateful for right now? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
It literally is rewiring my brain to not necessarily ignore things, like acknowledge those things, but like in acknowledging those things, what can you be grateful for? So that's something. And then I'm trying to uh, read my Bible more, pray more. Not the best at it, but I'm trying to. But yeah, I would say that's some of the newer things that I'm trying to do. That gratitude pause thing has really been helpful for me.
I like that. I'm gonna have to implement that myself. I think I do it in my own kind of way, but to have it on the calendar and the schedule, I like that because it can catch you. It can interrupt.
No, yeah, I need that because I'm not always on my phone or my watch thing, but like when it goes off and I'm like, oh shoot, it is time to do that because otherwise I
Mm-hmm.
won't do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I might put some stuff on my calendar. That's fun. Now I might have to short mine. It might be 30 seconds to 5 minutes. But we
Hey,
are going to
that adds up. That adds
It
up.
does. It does. And I do the same thing with myself. I think our human propensity is to think negative. I think, don't quote me on the numbers, but I think it's like we have 87 thoughts a day or something like that. And 65,000 of them or something are just negative. They're leaned towards, I don't know why, but it is. So to hang on to expand and to acknowledge the good ones, like it is work and it's worth it work. Or else
Yeah.
if you're just going to go with the flow of how things are set up, then, you know, things are going to get a little negative. And I think that's
Yeah.
what makes it a little bit harder. But The gratitude is everything, and it's
Yeah.
shifting. So I do the same thing. I can tell when I'm feeling negative too long, like, all right, girl, we're not about to stew over this. Like, I get it.
Yeah. It
I
literally
honor it.
sometimes like
Yeah.
physically it feels like just a hot blanket. Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know, obviously, I'm sure when you practice enough, you notice a difference. You're like, wait a minute, this is not how I want to feel. I
Yeah.
deserve more.
But it's comfortable, so that's what's tempting. It's familiar,
Yep.
That's why, like, sometimes I'll sit in a funk,
Yep.
and just be like, nah, and all that, and just So I totally get what you're saying, and yeah, yep,
Yeah. That was me today. I'm like, all right, I get it. Law of assumption, gratitude, but I don't care.
I said what I said.
I need today. So
Yeah.
we're just this is where we're gonna be. Because I feel like too, what you resist persists. So there's a fine balance. I don't do it all the time, but when I know I'm just in a funk, it's like, I'm not gonna resist this. I'm gonna go through it.
Yeah.
And we'll be good tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a snack. I'm gonna get some rest.
Be like that meme with Winnie the Pooh. It's just like, all right, I'm eating now. I'm happy.
Yeah. Hey, whatever it takes to help,
Hey.
tip you over the edge.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Hey.
In reason, but like, we need to help ourselves, and it just is what it is.
There it is.
So I know you're a reader. So what's your absolute favorite quote and why? And even if it's not your all-time favorite quote, what has stood out recently? Or
I'll go with recently because
Yeah.
I have too many dang quotes that I like.
Yeah.
One of the recent quotes that I heard, I'm butchering it a little bit, but when I heard it, I was like, man, like I want to get that tatted on me or something. I'm not, but I want to. You have never looked in the eyes of someone who God doesn't love.
Oh my God.
Yes, and I can look it up real quick to see who said that. I have no idea where it came from. I remember hearing it in like a sermon or something, but I was just like, yo,
Wow.
like that rocked me. I was just sitting there like, dang, that's humbling, because it's like, somebody that just pissed me off from, heated at or whatever, like, it makes you look at it, it can allow you the opportunity to look at people differently. Yeah. So that man, that yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Like, it makes you check yourself. It's an equalizer, and it brings in acceptance all at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's that freedom again. That's, that's what love is. It's easy to get upset, or I don't want to say look down on people. I know we do it sometimes, but I just mean, like, sometimes you think like they have the audacity to do that to me, like, or whatever.
Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, so you're putting yourself in this place, but it's like, if I really think about it, they struggle. They are figuring things out. They're here. You're it's not to be compared. It's like an equalizer. That statement to be like, yeah, but God loves them. God made them. Like,
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Like that's one that I don't know, might get that on my tombstone or something. I don't know. But
yeah,
that's gonna be one that sits with me for probably the rest of my life.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang on to that one, put it in the pocket. I need to write it down somewhere. I need it to be. That's really good. That's a good anchoring statement. Here for it. That was bomb.
Yeah, man. I wish I was smart enough to come up with something like that.
Right. And it's so simple. It's like, it's profound, but it's really, really simple.
That'd be the best stuff. The stuff that's so simple. That'd be the deepest stuff, man.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it. I need to write that one on my heart. That's a good one. So
no, it is. I'm gonna find out where it comes from and who said it, and I'll send it to you.
That's a good one. That's kind. Who doesn't need a little kindness?
Yeah.
I think mine right now, I shared it with one of my clients yesterday. What is fear is excitement without the breath.
Okay. Hold on, I'm still processing that. Say it again.
Fear is excitement without the breath.
Huh.
So I don't know who said it either. I feel like I saw it on Twitter, but what I'm hearing is like, and the way I tried to explain it from my point of view is like, when you're afraid and when you feel fear, it's like it's weight, it feels restricting, it's tight. You'll probably notice
Mhm.
you're only chest
Yeah.
breathing. You're not,
Yeah.
but if you breathe into it, breath is expansion, it's bigger, it's
Mm.
vast, it's more. And it's like, maybe I'm not really scared of this thing. Maybe I'm really excited if I invite
Mm.
in the space to give my body and my nervous system a moment to really be in that thing and not like
Mm.
try to make it small and crush it down. So that's good.
I love that.
Yeah. So when I
That
get
is
nervous now, I'm like,
amazing.
just take a big old breath and I'm like, no, like I'm actually excited. Like this is a new journey, like, or whatever, at the time that makes me feel that way. So
And that's
yeah.
dope too, because it's like I think as humans, no matter how confident we are, fear is a real thing, and it can keep you from doing stuff. So to think of like, wait a minute, am I actually afraid of this, or am I excited about it? I love that. That's
Breathe. Just breathe.
man,
You're
gosh,
not breathing.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that,
So good, right?
man.
It's good.
One up at me. I see it. I see you.
No,
Sorry,
no.
sorry.
I feel like we equaled on that one. We're toe to toe on that one.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I love it. So yeah, huge takeaways on that. It's you know what too, because it's actionable.
Mhm.
It contributes to our function.
Yes.
Both of
Yes.
them.
Yeah.
We need that. We need all the reminders that we can get to get out here and be great.
Yeah. No, that's real.
Yeah. So one of my last questions before we chat your independent film rewind is, what are 2 characteristics that you believe are non-negotiables in today's society?
So do you mean that like for me, or if it's like if I'm looking at society, I notice these are the 2 things that seem to be culturally.
It could be either or one of each, or, just like, I mean, I could give an example. I don't want to influence, but it's something that comes to mind for me and for the collective is like, to be discerning.
Mhm.
It's kind of a big deal right now. You got to know everything you're hearing isn't, you got to be able to.
Okay. So what
That's
I
a
would
characteristic, I
maybe
feel. Yeah.
so what I would maybe suggest, seeing how the world is right now, what would I say? Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. That's good. Um,
Non-negotiable. Like, it's a must.
I would say dignity and honor. I think those are 2 things, given how our world and society is. Not saying if we treated people with those 2 qualities or characteristics, it would change the world, but I'm not saying it wouldn't either.
Come on, for real.
Because I mean, I think at the core of everything that people want, what we're looking for at the core of it, I think is love. And what better way to love somebody is treat somebody with dignity and honoring that person. Yeah, yeah,
And being
yeah.
honorable. Like, care about what you're doing, what you're saying, how you're making people feel. Like, be honorable.
Mm-hmm. And on the flip side, I would say be open to receiving that as well from others. Yeah.
Which would mean you've got to see it in yourself at some point if you're going to receive it, which can be a challenge as well.
Yeah. No, it is big time.
Yeah.
Especially depending on people's different like upbringings and backgrounds and all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. So good.
Yeah, man.
I love it. Those are major. I'm going to even sit on that, and then I'm going to get the dictionary out because I need to know more. I need to know the full gamut of the words to make me, feel some kind of way. But I love the dictionary. But yeah, no, I absolutely love that. And I agree, because you look around, and if there was more of that, things would be a little different. We're a little collectively wild right now.
That's putting it lightly, but yeah.
It's a little buck with it out here.
Yeah, yeah.
But, I would say I know people are doing the best they can. Some are, some aren't. But with a little bit more of these characteristics infused, I think it would steer the boat in a different direction collectively. So I love that. I'm here for it.
Me too.
Frank, this was amazing. I miss chatting with you. Your demeanor, your wisdom, your vibe.
It's
I'm
just
so glad.
because I'm bald now, so it's less to get through.
I think
So,
that's
it's
it.
just direct, just,
Right off the top, we're right to
if I
it.
put some cocoa butter on there, just slide right on.
It's a wrap. I love it. So before we get out of here, tell us about Rewind, like, because it hasn't come out yet, right? Or it's on
Not
its
yet.
way out. Tell us about that project and like what we can look for when it comes to you.
So this project is a very special project to me, simply because it infuses all the things that I love to do. Like if anybody asks me like what do you want your career to look like? What are the elements? I'll be like, watch this, because it's got the drama, it's got the comedy, it's got the goofiness, it's got the action. I love stunts and fighting choreography. Like I love that stuff, and I did all
Dope.
my stunts in this. So it was in there, and they ain't no little punk stunts either. They like some real stunts. So yeah, it's amazing. But what the story's about, it follows a guy named Cole Webb, and he was tested on in a facility when he was a child, and in those tests they were like under the table kind of tests. Him and his mother were tested on, and I got the ability to be able to transition my consciousness into past versions of myself. Uh,
Insane.
so I use that ability kind of like Robin Hood style, where it's like, I go back and do like little heists or, stealing little things here and doing things like that. And the character reaches a point where he wants to find out what happened to his mom, because his mom died, during that process. And he enlists the help of his sister, and some group of friends that she knows. And it's kind of like some Avengers symbol type stuff where I use that ability to go back in time and figure out what happened to my mom. And yeah, it's a really really good film. I've seen the it's not the finished trailer. They still have some coloring and some editing to do, but I've seen the trailer and it looks amazing. And this is my first time leading a feature film, because I've been in like leads in short films and things like that and plays and stuff, but never like a full length feature film. So yeah, it's really really exciting, and I cannot wait to see it, and I cannot wait to share it.
Yeah, you better share it. I'm gonna put the link to What Happened to Hope down here so you guys can tune into that and watch that. And I can't wait to see the trailer and the movie, because I was looking at IMDb. I was like, oh, he's in the first spot. Okay, lead.
You know,
Okay,
you know,
I was
this is
like,
where I would do a hair flip if I had some. It's all right.
I got you. I got you. Because that's a huge deal. Like, essentially you're carrying the film. And, I know your entire cast and everybody that's involved is amazing, but this is a big deal.
Yeah,
So I'm proud
yeah.
of you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it sounds like something I would watch. It sounds nice and wild, right up my alley.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. The opening, like I can't talk about it a ton, like not because of the strike stuff, but just not wanting to give away stuff. The
Yeah,
opening like sequence it immediately is just like we in it from the beginning. So
let's do
yeah,
it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
do you know where we'll be able to watch it, or has it been picked up, or like how does that work? How do we, support the film?
So when I find out more information, I'll definitely let you
Okay.
know. But from when we had the rap party, and things may have changed since then, but when we had the rap party, the plan was to do a premiere here in Atlanta at the Plaza Theater that's kind of close to downtown. And then after that, I think make it accessible online, like maybe YouTube or something like that. I'm not 100% sure if that's still some of the plans with that. Also, I think they're looking at submitting into some film festivals to further get it out there. Maybe eventually get picked up by a streamer or something like that. So yeah, I don't know fully, but of course, as soon as I know, I'll be letting you know and everybody else know. So yeah, yeah,
Poppin'.
yeah, man.
I love it. You're doing it. You're doing it big. I appreciate you spending this time with me, and we'll stay connected for years.
Sure, absolutely, and thank you for this. Probably get tired of me saying it, but I really do appreciate you and what you do. You're so good at this. You have a gift with making people feel very comfortable and welcoming, and it makes people open up. And you're just really gifted at what you do. So thank you for doing this, and I appreciate you including me in on it.
Yes, and I'll never get tired of you saying that. Don't you even worry.
Okay.
I
All right.
appreciate it.
Okay.
I receive it because you know how it goes too. It's like, we're we do what we do because it's us and we do it, but you don't always know. You're just kind of like, oh, I'm just doing my thing, but it's like, oh, I'm really doing my thing. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thank
I'll let you
you.
know. I'll let you know. My goal is to make you get tired of it.
I love it. I appreciate that. That's a good goal. Yes. So that was it, you guys. You can follow Frank. This is your Instagram, pretty much, right? Just look him up. Just Google him. Like you'll see all of the things pop up. He's
You see this little milk
Googleable.
dud pop up. Yep.
Yeah. We love the milk dud.
Hey,
Yes. All right, hun. Well, we'll stay in touch. We'll definitely have another chat.
absolutely.
Thank you for sharing, your wisdom and insight. And yeah, have a good rest of your night.
You too. You too. Rest
Thank
easy.
you. All right, guys. Bye.